All right, and we are back here for episode 22 of Paradigms Podcast.
That's one of my favorite numbers.
Woo!
Sometimes my favorite.
This will be your favorite episode then.
What's going to happen? Is there a surprise?
All of your favorite things are going to happen. I'm just kidding. I saw the look in your eyes.
That is so mean. Where are the cats? There's nothing fluffy here. There's no weed.
Well, now we understand how our listeners felt last week when there was no episode.
Oh, shoot.
Right?
Now I feel really bad.
Don't feel too bad.
Well,
I mean, I am bad.
Yeah, you're bad. You're a bad guy.
I do feel a little bad, but we had a last minute thing come up when we were supposed to record on Thursday night before our Friday release,
true.
Which is a terrible idea that we need to move away from.
Yeah.
And we are moving away from.
Well, I mean, like, we did make a schedule for it for every Sunday, but for some reason we just get tired on a Sunday.
Yeah. Sometimes on Sunday you just want to not do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on our Thursday when we were supposed to record, we had an invitation to come out for dinner with some people I've been working with, and it felt like we should go and focus on some networking and growing opportunities here. So that's what we ended up doing, and sorry for the last minute swapperoo.
Yeah, well, it was nice, though, because I like to, it was nice to meet the people that you've been working with, and they were really awesome, too. So, I mean, we're still working on meeting people, period.
Yep.
And also, we never, ever go out to eat. Like, rarely ever go out to eat. Because we make our own meals, or we eat chips.
And we enjoy both a lot.
So, yeah, where did we go?
We went to Montana's.
Montana's. Yeah, I had a fantastic burger there.
Yeah.
Guess what?
And I think it's
what it
Steve's
was.
favorite. Oh.
Guess what my burger was?
Did it involve chicken?
Yeah. This is spicy chicken. Spicy, crispy chicken.
I was gonna. How was this chicken prepared?
Crispy.
Yeah.
On a bun. And you know what? I don't know if it had pickles, though.
I don't remember either. But it did have fries.
The fries were good.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to mess up burgers and fries.
Yeah.
But good on Montana's. They made
really
some amazing burgers and fries for us.
Love pickles on my crispy chicken spicy burgers. But anyway, so that was fun. So
yeah. So sorry, listeners. We're out having fun, and by listeners I mean moms. Again.
Yeah. If we miss again, we got to make sure that we text at 4:00 in the morning, because my mom sometimes is up in the morning waiting for it. Or the night before. Why didn't we do the night before? Actually, no, she was happy that it was 4:00 because she's not up that early. But if 5:00, 6:00 rolls around, she's like, "Oh my God, yay!"
It's okay. I'm gonna change it to 2 a.m. for you, Rini. We're gonna do 2 a.m. releases. But yeah, so we went somewhere last Thursday, and this Friday we're going somewhere else. Whereabouts are we going?
Well, we're going somewhere I've never, ever been before.
Hint number 1.
So that's could be anywhere. And we're taking 2 flights.
2 flights, yes.
And it's so fucking far.
Yeah, fairly far.
It is far. It's across the country.
Mm-hmm.
Not our country.
Well, it's across the
your
continent.
Continent. Oh, please don't get into geography. I can't. I need to relearn it. You go back to school.
We're going from the West Coast-ish of... I feel weird saying West Coast being in Calgary. This is just a little tangent, sorry. Because I feel like we were living on the literal coast in Vancouver. Mm-hmm. And even though people say West Coast or the West here in Calgary and Alberta in general, I know it's West. I understand what they mean, but it still feels like, well, you're not.
Should we just call it
really
Westland? Westland?
No, it's fine. I'm
to
not
the
asking anyone else to change
left.
what they're doing. It just sounds weird in my mind because of where I've been.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
But,
well, I've never been to the East Coast anywhere.
Number 2, East Coast.
Yeah, but the weather should be sort of like what we have right now. I kind of Googled
unless a freak hurricane comes in.
Hey,
which could still be anywhere in the coast. Yeah.
I know it happens down a little bit further, but...
Yeah, they caught some of, what was the last one here? Ian?
Oh, the one in, it hit like Newfoundland.
It didn't really do much of anything where we're going, but the one that was in the news, yeah, it definitely came through there.
So we're going to the East Coast. I've never been there.
It's kind of south.
What other...
It's in the south, southern U.S.
Are we going to see someone? Are we going... What is happening?
We're going to see my brother in North Carolina.
Okay, let's just say it. Come on, I don't know how many more hints we can... North Carolina.
Yeah. So we're
going to the
Fayetteville area of North Carolina.
Had no idea how far it was. I didn't know it was East Coast Lake on the right there, and I didn't know it was pretty much above Florida, which I've never been to, but so that's really kind of cool.
Isn't this
for me?
This is going to be one of the farthest trips you've gone on, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think Mexico is the only other place.
Yeah, so I guess the farthest east.
Well, no, I've been to Cleveland. Where's Cleveland?
Yeah, this is farther east.
Yeah, okay.
Cleveland is
was a dump anyway.
Cleveland, it's kind of Toronto.
Oh, sorry, Cleveland people.
It's a little west of Toronto, like near the Great Lakes.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. But on the west end of all the Great Lakes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So, and I actually haven't met Jordan either, and so that's going to be
Jordan
doubly
is my brother,
exciting.
For those who don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we're going to go out there. My whole family's going. So we're going to meet my mom and dad.
His parents.
Yeah. So it's me, my brother, my mom, and my dad.
So your immediate family all together.
Mm-hmm.
Plus me.
Yeah, plus you. Well, you're part of the immediate family now.
I am.
You are.
I don't have a ring. But.
Wow. Dropping big hints on the
just
podcast.
Just jokes. I like to poke at you.
I like these jokes. Yeah. So we're going to go out there. It's going to be the first time all five of us, sorry, are going to be together now.
You haven't been over there either.
No.
You've never been to North Carolina before?
No, I've been to North Carolina, but this is the first time I've been to my brother's home in North Carolina.
Gotcha.
Because I should say, before when I went there, he was renting an apartment with his ex-wife, and so that
throw
sounds
that
so
in
weird
there.
to say. Sorry, shit, fuck. Anyhow, sorry. I just mean the times before I had been, he was either in like military housing on base. My brother's in the military, so he was living there for a while. Then he was renting an apartment when he was with his former partner, and then they had got a house together, and then they got another house, and I had never been over there to either of the homes that they had. So this will be my first time in like his home.
Yeah, and then he's got enough space for us all.
Yeah, and that too. Exactly.
Yeah, no, and from what I've seen, like it looks like a really nice, cozy home, and I think he'll be really happy to have his family there.
It sounds like it. Mm-hmm. He's been texting a lot in our family group chat.
Because he never gets to come out here, which is such bullshit.
Yeah. Well, it's due to his schedule with the military.
Yeah, it sucks.
He doesn't have a lot of control over his work schedule, and it's always sort of, when work needs something, you're expected to be there.
For sure. I'm just complaining because I think it's stupid.
Yeah. Well, and the added layer of being in Canada, which it's kind of funny, and it's something I think I want to ask you a few questions about or get to learn some of your understanding. What is that? No, that's not English. I want to hear some of your perspective
okay.
on this idea, because growing up in the States, it's always talked about like U.S. and Canada are like the same country.
Hell
and
no.
So many people in the United States think that Canada is like some part of the United States, or they don't understand that it's a separate country with its own rules. And
is that people now think that, or have?
Yep. Even
okay.
now. Because like even when in the last election series, there was a bunch of people who were disgruntled and said they were going to move to Canada. So they packed up their cars and they drove to the border, and then the border guards were like, well, you're not Canadians. Do you have immigration or anything? And they were kind of shocked and like, what do you mean? We can't just go into Canada? It's like, no, it's a different country.
Do they just think
I don't know if it's a majority. I don't think it's a majority. I don't think Americans are that dumb. They're not that dumb. I will be honest. I don't think they're that dumb. But there is a small portion of the population that is that dumb. So that small portion of people found out pretty quick that it's a different country.
Yeah, like, have they ever been anywhere ever before?
Apparently not. A lot of Americans don't travel.
Okay.
But that aside, that adds another layer of difficulty for my brother traveling because it's technically international travel according to the United States government, even though it's, just Canada, as we say in the United States.
It's just Canada.
Growing up, yeah, it's hilarious. That's what we always say. It's like there's international travel and then there's just going to Canada. Like, if people asked you in the United States, what countries have you been to? And you say Canada, people go, okay, but like, what countries have you been to?
It's horrible. It's like a whole other world here.
It really is. And I wish more people in the United States understood that.
So what do you want to know?
What do I want to know? Well, what did you think of the United States growing up in
when
Canada?
I was growing up, I was very, very much into movies and I mean, like, I still like movies and stuff, but movies and TVs and actor. Like, I had a very, very good memory. And I really liked acting, and I really wanted to act because, that's what kids with dreams think that they can do. I can't actually do it. Anyways, so when I think about the States, I didn't do travel into the States a lot when I was younger.
Well, and you lived farther away from the border than I did.
Yeah.
You were up in Okanagan area, which for those who don't know is about how far from the border?
Well, if the border in Vancouver to Kelowna or whatever is like 4.5 hours, maybe like 5 hours.
Yeah, so it's like half a day of driving to get just to the border before you're even in the States. So that's quite a bit versus where I lived, where it was literally 45 minutes from my house to downtown Vancouver if there was no traffic. Mm-hmm. So we grew up practically in Canada, which is why I think I grew up with people saying like, oh, it's just Canada. And that was always my mentality.
Because Washington.
Yeah, I grew up in Bellingham, Washington, for those who
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people kind of group Washington within.
Yeah, but even people in Seattle, which is still 2 hours south of Bellingham, will still sort of feel like Vancouver.
Isn't that Washington?
Yeah, it's Washington.
Okay.
Yeah. But I just compare it to Spokane, where people, where my parents now live, which is on the other side of the state, and it's a little farther from the border. So there, to people living in Spokane or other places, it's a little farther.
Okay.
Anyhow, small tangents aside.
Yeah, you took
over.
You
grew up in that. Sorry.
And now, you know what happens when you take over? I forget. I lose my train of thought. So I think I was saying we hadn't traveled a lot in the States. We had gone to Disneyland when I was 14, and then another time when I was 22.
Yeah.
So that was my real. From what I remember, Mom, you could email us again and tell us, tell me if I'm wrong or too young to remember. So I loved it because Disneyland, and we're huge Disney fans.
Yeah.
So over my obsession of wanting to be an actor and thinking that you go to America to act, or it's fun and rare to see a Canadian actor because when they're usually in the States, right? And it's like you assume they're American or whatever. And then Disneyland, I didn't know much about the people. So I don't really have a whole lot to go off of. But as I got older and still hadn't really visited a lot, just watching more like news or this or that, we're getting your outside information. And just thinking that I really don't want to be mean right now.
None of this is mean right now.
So
it's
I
just
feel
perceptions.
When I kind of figured out what sort of how people live over there, it's scary, kind of. It's scary. For one, your healthcare, like you can never get hurt. Or have babies, although you can have babies. I don't know how people afford to have babies in the States. How do people have 10 kids?
I'm the worst for figuring out how to live in the States because I couldn't figure it out, so I left. So like I don't have an honest answer.
Yeah.
All I can do is speculate. But and I'm not going to do that now.
So I'll just like do points of things that I can remember. Guns.
Yep.
Hate. Why? Like people obsessed with guns. Okay. I think that's insane.
It's a little facetious.
Huh?
I was like, it's their right. Just being a little facetious. That's all. That's all.
So the guns, the healthcare, non-existent. What else? What else?
I feel like you hit a big nail on the head in terms of what I observed there, though. Of so many Canadians look to the United States as an opportunity for a career in entertainment. Mm-hmm. Whether it's in front of the camera as talent or behind the... I don't know if you know either that Lorne Michaels, the creative producer behind SNL, Saturday Night Live, one of the most popular shows in the United States.
I know
He's
SNL,
Canadian.
But... Okay.
Cool. He immigrated down there. So, I mean, I didn't know that. There's big forces both, I mean, in front of the camera and behind. So I just mean that to say not everybody who goes down to the States for a career in entertainment ends up in front of the camera as an actor or singer or something. Like, there's a lot of really intelligent, powerful, and just incredibly, I guess, valuable producing and creative people behind the cameras as well who go down there.
Mm-hmm. And you know what, though? I've always wanted to go south.
Yeah.
I really want to just experience the people down there. That sounds scary too. Not religious at all. Like I believe in the universe. Mm-hmm. But I love Southern accents.
Yeah.
I love it. And I like the way that they eat. And I just think it would be a cool experience to see what the people are like down there.
Yeah. What is it about the accent?
I don't know. I just think I don't know. It's just fun. Like there's just, I feel very monotone and kind of like blah. And you get so much out of a Southern accent, or mostly like, I could almost say that about a lot of accents, but they just, the people besides the accents, I just feel like they have so much.
Yeah.
So much, just so much. Like, I don't know how to explain it. And I just like to hear them speak.
There's a livelihood to their accents. I feel like
they don't give a fuck, it seems.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Because to a certain extent, a lot of them don't. They tell you what it is and how it is.
I like it. I like when people can be honest like that. I'm not saying I don't. There's things going on. I'm sure that I totally do not agree with, but I like the way you speak.
Yeah. There's pros and cons to everywhere. And I think that's the honesty we have to have right now in the way that we talk about places and people. Mm-hmm. There's always pros and cons to everywhere that you go.
Yeah. So other than that, really, I just think the States is just it doesn't say free to me as they claim, and it's it just feels like a box and obsessed with themselves. I'm not talking about everybody, of course, but Americans just seem so obsessed with America that there is no other anything, anyone, anywhere.
Yeah. When it's strange, once you live there and then you leave, you begin to understand the idea of America, or the concept of America, because there's two versions of America. And by America, I mean the United States, because that's what the United States has done to the word America, is taken that whole word and directed it towards itself. Gotcha. When really there's two other countries in North America, and there's two whole Americas with a fuck ton of different countries.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird how that one country has taken this one word to direct all the attention to itself.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah.
Never thought about it really
which was something I learned very early on in Vancouver when I met my first friends in Vancouver were Mexicans, and it was kind of one of their first gripes where they were like, "Why do you Americans always use that word? Because we're American." We're gonna pause for 1 second and come back. All right, thank you. We're back now. Our dinner is safe.
Good.
That's what the timer was.
Yeah. So you were saying how your Mexican friends were talking about what?
Yeah, about how I guess people in the United States use the phrase America to refer to the United States of America, but that's not accurate. Because there's 3 countries in North America and 10 plus in South America.
Sorry, they say they refer to the United States
because it's the United States of America.
They refer shorthand,
to we just say America.
So they refer to the United States
as
America, but they also think Mexico and Canada are just America.
No, it's the opposite.
Oh, I got confused.
Or people in the United States say, this is America.
Yes.
But America is 2 continents. There's North America, there's South America. And within that one continent of North America, there's 3 countries.
So they're just trying to claim this whole land.
Well, it's a grammatical thing if you want to be nitpicky about it. But yes, the extent of it is that it makes everybody else in the Americas feel like that one country is trying to take the whole thing for itself or
trying to own.
Yeah. I think it's an unintended consequence, but nonetheless, it's there and that's how people feel.
Yeah. So it sounds like they don't think about other people.
No. Like I said, because those people drove up to Canada thinking we're just going to move to Canada. And it's like, you can't just do that if you're not a Canadian. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can't just move to Canada. Like, you can't just move to England. You can't just move to Japan. Like,
yeah.
Unless you have paperwork to do that. You know what I mean? Like, that's the world we live in. So I find it really funny that Americans they'll understand that about every country except Canada. And that's always felt really silly to me as growing up in the States.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember part of it, like as kids, we only ever had to, bring just a birth certificate to cross the borders. We didn't need passports until like, when was that, 2008 or 9 or something like that?
Really? That late?
Yep. That late.
Yeah, because you would have been like 17.
Yeah. I remember when I came out for film school, I'm a Canadian citizen, but we had to do some paperwork to get the proof of that from Canada. So until we had that paperwork, I was treated as a foreign student coming into Canada. And I remember going up to the border and I had to get a visa, like a student visa from the border. So you could drive up and do it since we live so close. Could just go do that. And I drove up there, had no passport, just brought my birth certificate and thought, I can just get a visa off of that. And I remember the border guys looked at me like I was insane. And they were like, no, you need to go get a passport.
Hilarious.
And come back here like everyone else in the fucking world.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah, no. I was,
so I'm wondering now.
Because the relationship was so casual between the countries for so long.
Yeah. Now we hate each other. But now I'm wondering, Mom, can you tell me? I could ask you later, but just let me know. We went to Disneyland when I was 14. That was 2004. Don't tell anyone else what I just told you, how old I am. But how did we get over there? I don't remember having a passport.
You might not have needed it.
Well, I remember her giving me like my old baby passport.
Or maybe you did for flying. This was always at the land border, and that's also why so much of my memory,
gotcha. Okay, so
I say my relationship between the countries is so skewed because the land borders were always really casual.
Gotcha.
If you weren't flying in, they were always very chill.
And how often did you guys come up? Because you had family up here.
Yeah, we had family out on Vancouver Island.
Yeah.
In Nanaimo, and we would go like 4 times a year, pretty much. like once a season.
Yeah, that's a good amount of traveling.
Yeah, and pretty much my whole life, aside from the time we lived in D.C. But like aside from that, it would be a minimum 3 to 4 times a year we would be going up to see my great grandparents and my great grandma once my great grandpa died. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and for most of that, all you ever needed was a passport. Or sorry, oh my gosh.
How many
Stop
alarms you got on? What else do we need to
Just
go
the
check
one.
on?
Nope.
Okay.
Push the wrong button. Yeah, so most of that time, all we ever needed was the birth certificate to cross the borders. So it always seemed really silly to me once we needed passports to go between the countries. But then I started going other places, and passports became really awesome.
Cool.
Yeah.
Now, what else do you want to know?
I don't know. I'm always curious because once I moved up to Canada and started talking with people and they found out a bit of my backstory, it seemed like there was always this massive, like, Canadian movement of people who thought the U.S. is better, or for some reason they're trying to like escape Canada and go down there. And I never understood why so many people seem to always want to go to the States.
I don't think it's the same these days.
Well, for sure these days.
I don't think anybody wants to fucking go there unless they're on vacay somewhere at a fly and lie. Mm-hmm. Or Disneyland.
Yeah. And I should say too, like, as a full disclosure, I worked in entertainment. So, of course, I'm surrounded by a lot of people who work in entertainment, and the U.S. has a big entertainment industry compared to Canada, which is not as big. So I think I understand it from that lens, where it seems like there's more job opportunity in that regard. And I think I've heard from some people, but yeah, even people here in Calgary, like there's more options for products. But like aside from that, I'm like, put aside the business reasons, I don't really get it.
I don't know. You're going to have to ask someone else.
All right.
But if you wanted to know, my mom has done a lot of traveling in the States. If you ever wanted to know her thoughts of Mom, if you want to send in giant email about your thoughts, or you want to hop on Facebook Messenger, we can have a good side chat, and you can let Jake know about all the places you've been and how you've felt about it. Because I just have not experienced enough.
Well, and I understand it from a traveler perspective of there's a lot of cool parks and different landscapes and climates and all this. But, you know, I'm like, you can still go visit all you want 6 months out of the year. Like, you know, you get a 180-day visa going in the country. Like, you don't need to do anything.
So I'm like, if you want to go visit anybody else out there listening who lives in Canada, who wants to move to America, can you tell us what is your draw? Yeah. What is it?
Yeah, why do you want to move there?
Because I've never met anyone that's wanted to move to America, to be honest. I don't think I've ever met I know one person that has moved there, but that was an ex-boyfriend.
Yeah. And a lot of that's, I don't know. Like, it seemed like you can get all those opportunities anywhere else. Like, in any other country in the world. So.
I could break my arm and...
Be bankrupt
in the States. I could break my arm. I could just die here, and everybody would be okay.
I'll give one small example. I think this is the last thing we'll talk about for this U.S. because I'm getting tired of it. Mm-hmm. But one small example of the difference between medical costs. When I was up in Whistler, I was snowboarding with a friend, and she fell and she broke her arm in front of us.
Ew.
And yeah,
look,
it was okay though. It wasn't too terrible.
Okay.
Bummer for her day, though. But so we were riding down with the snow patrol or ski patrol. Snow patrol.
Snow patrol.
Isn't that a band?
Yeah, I think it is. It also sounds like Paw Patrol.
Yeah.
Paw Patrol to the rescue! You broke your arm. We need this.
That's awesome. But so we're riding down with the ski patrol. And the woman was like, it's a good thing you broke your arm, because if you break a leg, then it's a mandatory ambulance ride to the hospital or the clinic in Whistler. It's technically a clinic.
Of course. You've got to have something up there.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They have a clinic there. You're all good. But if you break your arm or something that's like, up above your waistline, I guess,
mm-hmm.
then you don't need an ambulance ride, and they can put you in one of the trucks, like a ski patrol truck, and take you.
Yeah.
I guess I don't think you can take yourself, or your friend can take you. The ski patrol still have to take you, but you don't have to have an ambulance ride.
Okay.
And she was really stressing this, and she's like, it's good because you'd have to pay for the ambulance ride.
Yeah.
And naturally, my American mind goes, well, how much is an ambulance?
Oh, okay. We should.
Right, because I'm always thinking about the cost of medical expenses.
Course.
That's how I was raised. It's the
course.
culture I was in. So I'm thinking, what?
Oh,
how much does an
God.
ambulance ride in Whistler cost? And he's like, oh, it's like $75. And I was like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah, we could do that. We're in fucking Whistler. We can pay for that.
I was kind of like, that's a tip for a nice dinner out in Whistler.
Holy shit.
Sorry, it's just a bit of a joke, facetious joke.
Just to, can we continue on to that real quick?
Yep.
Is just like, we were at the hospital in Spokane recently.
Mm-hmm.
And so when the person who was at the hospital,
it was my mom.
Okay, in the room, this is hilarious. Like, first of all, it felt fucking weird being there because I'm like, am I gonna get charged for sitting in the weight room?
We should say weird from a Canadian perspective, like first time, I guess, first time in an ER in the States.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So not my first time, but Chantel's first time in an ER in the States. We should do a separate. We can chat a little about that actually, but keep going. Just
to be quick, like what I wanted to add on here was just what your parents had said. Like her tests hadn't even been done yet, and the lady was strolling by saying, "So, your insurance covers blah blah blah, and then this is the remaining amount you got to pay. You want to pay that now?"
Yeah.
Like before anything was done with her.
Your coverage isn't even, you're not even done. You don't even have test results and they're already asking you to pay.
Yeah. You pay it right now. Like they're just strolling by your.
Yeah.
What if somebody in the bed couldn't fucking answer? Oh, okay. I guess we'll go to the next one. It's like they don't. I hate that. You're not a real person. It feels like.
Well, it's the money is more important than the care.
Yes, and that
is what that's definitely the vibe it gives off.
Mm-hmm.
Intended or not, that's the vibe that everybody leaves a hospital with in the United States because that's how they do it.
And sorry, I got to add on this too. While we were there was this very, very young couple, like early 20s, that came in, and the girl was like,
poor girl.
I don't know what was wrong with her. We didn't know what was wrong until her boyfriend started talking to us. And I'm looking away like, I don't want to talk to anybody. And I don't know what the hell you want. And it was funny. You stare. You're bad at
Maybe it's an American thing. I don't know.
You know what? Maybe it is. Because you do. You fucking stare. And you're like, ugh.
I'm not afraid of eye contact.
No, and me, I'm just like, well, I avoid.
I won't.
But he kind of he told us what happened. Like, he shared a dab of weed with her, and it was too much.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was just having a really bad.
But she was in like a psychosis. It seemed like it wasn't necessarily weed. I don't know.
No.
Could it have been? Okay.
Yeah. If when you're like,
maybe I've never observed that like sober third party. Watching someone.
Well, also, I think the type of weed too. And when you're younger, like things hit you just so fucking hard.
Yeah.
So
and it's less regulated.
She really just needed to sleep it off. It's something that, after watching her for a bit, yeah, she seemed fucked up, but she definitely seemed like she could sleep it off. Like, but they came in because he was so worried about her because she puked right after. Which is also something that happens when you just too much. I've been there. And so he brought her to the emergency room and had to wait forever. And they did an X-ray on her, which they thought was really random. That's what he was saying anyways. And then
I'm just saying, I don't know the medical.
I don't know, but they were waiting for so long until he talked to her mom, and then she laughed and then they left. He's like, oh, okay, we're just gonna, sorry, man, we're just gonna leave. I think she just needs to go. And I'm like, how much is that gonna cost you? Do you even know?
No.
Does that cost you fucking anything? Yeah, because you at least had an x-ray. You were in the room. What is that gonna cost you? And you're just like, don't worry about it. We're leaving.
Yeah.
I would have stayed simply because I knew I was going to have to fucking pay something.
And this is why when my dad offered me the free juice, I said, motherfucker, give me some juice.
Yeah, we did get some free OJ.
Because if we're paying some money to be here, I'm going to get something out of this.
Yeah. But anyways,
yeah,
that's how we're going to end it, I guess.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, sorry. No, we got to end with the cost because we never revealed the cost. So
the cost
in Whistler, the ambulance ride from the bottom of the slopes to the medical clinic, 75 Canadian dollars. My brother worked as an EMT in Whatcom County, which is the farthest northwest, left, upper left corner of the United States. And in that county, if you're going to get an ambulance ride, it's about $1,000.
For like how far?
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I mean,
it's
just like pretty much
my
at a minimum,
fucking
if you
God.
call an ambulance in the United States of America, or at least in Whatcom County, up till 2014 or 15 or whenever the hell my brother was working there, it was going to be about $1,000 is the total bill. If you have insurance, they'll pick up, like 900 of that. If you have good insurance.
So it's still more even covered in insurance.
But that's what I mean. Like, you can't take the cost of what you pay as the cost of the ambulance. I'm like, the ambulance ride is $1,000. If you have insurance, they will pay a good portion of that. Or maybe they give you X number of free, quote, free ambulance rides per year. You pay for insurance. It's not free. So, again, I just mean the cost of an ambulance ride is expensive as fuck in the United States.
Which now I feel like maybe subconsciously when I was like, should I call 911 was also like, are you sure you want to pay for an ambulance?
But again, it's one of those sad things where in the moment people know, like when it comes down to, should somebody live or die, you're not thinking about money.
Of course not.
Which I think is the whole gripe with that system in the United States. Because everyone says, why is this monetized?
Yeah.
Like this is not something that should be monetized.
Yeah. So I'll end my talking on, can somebody please tell me how anyone can afford to give birth in the States?
Good insurance.
Okay, bye.
Or you save for a doula.
Yeah, I guess you just give birth over the toilet.
In a tub. Something. We can have my mom on for a talk about alternative birthing methods.
We don't need to know any of that, really, honestly.
But the people might want to know.
We don't care. No babies here.
Anyhow, no babies here. Pair of dinks. That's what is it? Dual income, no kids.
No pets?
Yeah, at the moment. But
and
we'll
still
have
no money.
Yeah. Dual income, still broke, no kids. All right, see you later, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.